Mark Hilliard from the Chamber of Commerce joins us on the line, and our conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Busy, busy times these days for Mark Hilliard, the Chamber of Commerce, and everybody who owns a business. Mark, good morning.
Morning, everybody.
So we go back to yellow on Friday, and of course there are all kinds of things to talk about when you consider what that means. And for Indiana County businesses, it's a new day, isn't it?
Yeah, I walked the streets a good bit on Friday and visited a lot of the businesses. We did videos on social media on our Facebook pages, with a lot of the places that had just reopened, and letting people know that they're opened up and any restrictions that they may have. It was nice to be able to just go from business to business. It'd be nice to be able to go in the restaurants as well, but unfortunately that hasn't been able to happen just yet. But it's still a good step in the right direction. It's nice just to be able to do that again and be able to see some of these businesses with customers starting to get the cash register ringing again.
Yeah, one of the things that people need to do, though, is to be sure if they're making a special trip that the business is actually going to be open. Kevin Laser from CareerLink said they had people at their door today, and they're not open yet at PA CareerLink. So, it's probably wise to make sure that somebody's going to be open if you're going to make a special trip. Agreed,
and we've been trying to instruct that call ahead. A lot of businesses, if they're not open or if they have modified hours, they will offer by appointment. We found that out even Friday, with a lot of the retail businesses that I visited. Some still have some modified hours, but they were offering appointments if people wanted them. They can just call ahead, and they'd be happy to meet with them. So, we're slowly getting there. A lot of the businesses are open. Some were reopening today instead of Friday, but if you have any question at all or a little bit unsure, I would definitely call ahead just to make sure.
And always have your mask and observe all the physical distancing rules and regulations that are in place to keep everybody protected. I think one of the things that you would say, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, is that if everybody just goes crazy and forgets all of those rules and regulations, then you run the risk of everything shut down again.
Exactly. I think that I think all the businesses have measures in place, and every one of them recommends you bring a mask and you practice social distancing. Now, I think we've seen with some of the businesses that have been open during this, and they tend to get larger crowds than some of the shops on Philadelphia Street, and they've been taking the proper protective measures. So if they can do it, everyone else can as well. It's certainly possible. And from everything that I witnessed on Friday, I don't see it being a problem. People seem to be very respectful of the guidelines. Try to follow them to the best of your ability to be able to do that. And the businesses are certainly doing that. I think almost every one of them had disinfectant wipes or hand sanitizer, masks, everything available for customers if they need it. So the businesses are certainly taking the proper precautions to make sure that their business is clean and sanitized and ready for customers to come in.
You, of course, with the Chamber of Commerce are not just interested in retail, but other businesses as well. Industry is certainly a concern, and you want to get the industry up and running as quickly as possible as well. Anything breaking or new on industrial applications, whether they were considered essential or not?
No, we had our virtual board meeting on Thursday, and part of what I wanted to do during that meeting is allow for the different industries to be able to kind of give a report on where they are, how things are progressing, as they're getting ready to head back into yellow, or where they stand. And for the most part, we're not in bad shape. There were a couple of businesses, in particular on the manufacturing end, that had to furlough some employees, but from what my understanding is, that was very temporary, and that things are starting to get back to normal. I think a lot of the issues that came from the different industries were related to the supply chain, and that even applies to retail. With a lot of the clothes that are being made overseas, whether they're a spring line or something else. If you're looking at a clothing store, those are affected. They may not be able to get certain products in, and I think that would go with any retail business that relies on products from out of the area, or especially overseas or out of the country. you run the risk that some of those products may not be available, or maybe a delay in getting them simply because of all the issues that we've dealt with. But yeah, I mean, it seems as if every business is kind of starting to ramp back up or starting to rehire some of their employees. I said before, it's going to be really hard to really get a good gauge on how well things have gone and where businesses are in terms of rehiring, where our employment figures are, probably for another few months until we really start to get things ramped back up and we're in the green for at least a month or so. I think at that point we would probably have a better gauge for where we are. But right now, at least it looks as if we're trending upward, and you know, the businesses and the industries seem to be rebounding, or at least feeling as if they are going to rebound. I know that doesn't speak for necessarily every single one of them, but we're pretty confident that, you know, we're going to take a little bit of a hit, but we are going to bounce back from it.
I note that in the report provided by the Chamber on the meeting the other day, you had a lot of folks from every sector you can think of: state government, education, the financial sector, insurance, retail, energy, the airport. Everybody talking about what are the next steps, what will be the hit that we take, and how do we get back on the road to recovery, which is a good way for me to say the Indiana County Road to Recovery website's a key, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and that's something that if you're interested, it's a bulletin we put out. A bulletin we put out twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and it's a good start. So if you're interested, whether you're a business or just even someone in the general public and would like to subscribe to that, you can get on our Facebook page or get on the Chamber's website and be able to subscribe to that bulletin. We post a link to it on Facebook after we do send it out via email, but sometimes you're not on Facebook all the time, especially if you're starting to get back to work. This is a good way to follow up with that, follow the guidelines, see where everything is in terms of what the guidelines are, what the recommendations are, what the mandates are. And also it gives you an idea of where different industries are. We had an update from manufacturing in our issue on Friday. We have updates from different legislators and state and local leaders. So it's a good start, in terms of how do we get back on track. I think it just, one step at a time. It seems like that's a cliched answer, but truly that's all we can do. We have to follow the guidelines as best we can. Do your best to get out. I would say a strong way to do it is to shop local. I know people are anxious to get out, but try to get out and stay. If you're spending your dollars, spend them with our local businesses. That's one of the best ways that everybody can help get the entire economy back on track, and certainly all of our local businesses. Keep our dollars here in Indiana County when we're out spending them and getting into those shops again. So if there are any questions, that bulletin generally has the information, or at least links to where you can find some of that information to, in terms of what steps we're taking, what steps are available for businesses, and even as a consumer or a customer, what you can do, some of the offers that are out there. And what's nice, too, is there are some people that are offering some help for businesses in terms, I think Indigo is offering free advertising for businesses. There are different options that people were doing to try to help the small businesses as well. So it's a good mix, a little bit of everything on there. And again, if you want to subscribe to it, just get on Facebook, contact us, and we'll make sure we put you on the list.
A couple of minutes left with Mark Hilliard from the Chamber of Commerce. What were some of the other highlights that stood out to you from the Chamber Board meeting the other day?
Well, I mean, one of the big issues we discussed was related to, we had a virtual news conference on Thursday, and I know you guys were there to cover it as well, but related to the local impacts for the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, RGGI. And we talked a decent amount about that during the board meeting as well, and some stances that we can take. And it's a frustrating issue. It's something we really shouldn't be having to be talking about right now. We're trying to find ways to rebound. Here we are talking about a governor who wants to implement some initiative that's going to take away jobs and potentially close schools. So it doesn't seem to make any sense. But that's kind of been the way that a lot of things that have been happening lately don't make a lot of sense. But we're trying to take our due diligence and fight against that as best we can. I know Senator Pittman, Representative Struzzi are leading the way on that front. But it's frustrating, and as a chamber, we're doing our best to be an advocate for our local businesses and make sure that we fight the good fight there too. And the biggest thing is we just want the governor to come to Indiana County. He was invited months and months ago to do that, and still has yet to come. I understand lately that the reasons behind that, but we'd love to talk to him face to face and have him tour these facilities and see the kind of local impacts that it would have, which are not good, and that's putting it very, very mildly.
All right. Yeah, that was I thought the news conference the other day had some very hopeful notes within it too.
It did, and I think that with the way certain things have gone with one of the air quality commissions, how they did not pass the resolution. So I think that it's starting to gain some bipartisan support in terms of people are recognizing the negative economic impact that it would have, not just in our county, but across the entire state. I think it would just really do a lot to hurt our economy pretty badly, and I'm trying to put it in simple terms, but I think people are starting to recognize that. We just want to make sure that given everything else that's going on right now, we don't lose sight of that, and that's not something that kind of flies under the radar. It certainly isn't for us, but we're trying to bring everybody else aware, make everyone else aware of it as well, so that we can give it the proper attention, and then hopefully soon it is an issue that just becomes dead.
He is Mark Hilliard. He's the president of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for the visit.
Thanks, Todd. Anytime.
All right. Have a great day.